Welcome to the Freaky Film Club.
Ooh.
I say we just get right to the movie, and is of course Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge.
That's it. There's the subtitle.
So first, I feel like we need to address the gay elephant in the room with this. The reason I asked if you did any research on this film prior to recording was because this film has a bit of a interesting story and history. It's actually been called at one point one of the gayest horror films ever made, and it was actually later admitted by the director that there was a gay subtext in mind when he was writing it. But it's so funny though, because he was like denying it for years and years and years, and he kept saying like, oh, Mark Patton was just playing it too gay. And then eventually he was just like, yeah, actually I did think of having that as part of it. So it's interesting, and like it's become like one of those things where the movie is just widely known for that weird like gay subtext, the homoerotic subtext, which I'm sure maybe you noticed in your viewing of it. I mean,
I did think I saw this guy's nipples quite a few times early in the film. Him laying in the bed, like he sleeps
Right.
shirtless or whatever.
Right.
So I felt like, huh. And then now that you mentioned this, he did have his shirt open a lot in the movie, like in the first half. You know, like just showing skin, I guess. So the director's gay? Is that what's happening here?
I would assume,
or he wanted the movie to be gay.
I don't know if he's gay or not, but he wanted the movie to have that like underlying like gay, because I guess it's supposed to be like you're supposed to pick up that it's saying there's another thing going on with like it's telling the story of like his repressed gay feelings, or like he's like, am I gay?
So it's actually homophobic film. That was the underlying horror. It was Freddy horror, and then it was homophobia. I'm going to scare you with the gayness because it's 1985, right? Not 2020.
But it's just interesting rewatching that. Like, for me today, like I picked up on a lot of stuff like in the background that definitely sort of went with that whole theory, because like if you'll notice, like even in like when they show the closet and there's like that board game at the top, it just says probe. I mean, that's gotta be like fucking part of the whole, that's gotta be intentional.
I never saw that. It's interesting. This is kind of a twist for the pod then, because never would I have guessed this would be your perspective on the movie today, and mine will be a first-time viewer,
right?
Not realizing it was, made with gay subtext,
right?
Like Top Gun.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of it's yeah. So that's just something I thought I should address right away, because it is sort of like, this isn't even like some internet like crackpot theory. It's sort of just become like widely known for that, and actually they cover that quite a bit in the Never Sleep Again documentary. And actually Mark Patton went on to make his own documentary about his experiences with this film and like how it affected him, because when he was cast, he didn't know about any of that, but he was a closeted gay man at the time, so it was almost like they typecast him to be in that role. And then so I'm sure he was hurt, like when the director was just saying like, oh, he just played it too gay. Like, I didn't write that.
Well, no wonder the girl character in the film liked him so much in a small community town like that, because he was gay and she didn't know that. And she thought, wow, this is such a swell guy. He's not like Grady at all.
What a catch. Yeah. Yeah. So I guess as we go along, maybe some things will start to show themselves differently as we talk about specific scenes, knowing that that's subtext. But I suppose we could just jump right into the beginning of the movie now that I've rambled enough about the gay undertones.
The gay elephant in the room. When you said that, I was like, what?
Yeah, are we about to get canceled?
Oh, not that. I was just like, where's this going? That was just the beginning of the twist for me.
Sure. Okay. Well, glad I could enlighten you with some trivia.
Oh.
All right, let's go. So it's directed by Jack Shoulder, who actually did trailers for New Line Cinema, and then he did Alone in the Dark, which was the reason why he got this film. And then the writer, who we touched on a little bit earlier, was David Chaskin. And that's all we'll say about him. So they actually did ask Wes Craven to direct this one, but he read the script and he was like, this is just fucking ridiculous. He just did. There was so many parts of it that he didn't like, and he gave them notes, but they're like, no, we're going to shoot it right now. So he was out.
Oh, well,
so
I guess it's interesting how the cookie crumbles sometimes. I'm already liking this director because his last name is spelled Sholder for shoulder. Took the U out so that it would make it more clear to everyone. It's pronounced shoulder,
right?
Not shoulder. Yeah, it's a common problem the average person has. So good on him.
Absolutely.
Or whoever his family crest, whoever did that in his ancestry.
Great grandpa Shoulder.
Great grandpa Shoulder.
All right. So the film opens. Film opens with a nightmare, and it's actually set 5 years after the events of the first film. And the nightmare is a school bus, which is weird because there's a school bus scene in the first one, isn't there?
Probably, but I can't think of what it would be. But I get it, like kids, school bus, right. Freddy, kids. But I have a question for you.
Yes.
Why 5 years? No, because nobody was in the house, and Freddy gets all of his power from the house. Kind of like the building was. His glove is in the furnace, so his spirit lives there.
Are you saying why did they make the choice creatively to wait 5 years?
No. Getting inside the film and the story.
Okay. Why Freddy waited 5 years?
In the Freddy universe, Freddy's power was concentrated in this building because his glove, his knives are in the, like, why? Like the house was vacant, they bought the house, they moved in, and then these things happened to Kid.
Sure.
And presumably it's because the house was empty.
I'm thinking,
it's like, why there's a 5 year gap? Why?
I'm thinking that's the case. Maybe his power resides in the house and it cannot extend beyond that.
Okay. What's weird is that Freddy doesn't have like it has to be the glove then, I guess. But I was just gonna say he doesn't have like a secret heart, like pulsy, disgusting heart pounding somewhere like in the attic or like under the ground or something on the property. You know? He's like just this like entity in the ether. But he's stuck in the house.
Right. I mean, that's what my interpretation of it would be.
And the glove is the plot device? Is that
yeah.
Or the thing that keeps him there?
I think so, but then in later films, I feel like they kind of stray from that. Like the rules change. So I feel like it doesn't really, it's not worth, I guess, getting too attached to the rules that this movie makes.
Maybe we can readdress it later down the road when the rules change and break it down then. I suppose it'd be unfair to get ahead of this one.
Right. But yeah, I mean, I could be wrong though. I mean, maybe like there's a different reason why he waited. Like maybe he had the ability to still do invade nightmares, but he just wanted to wait. He was mourning the loss of Nancy.
Right. He didn't. Did he get her? He got her.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I don't even have to open that can of worms up right now, honestly. Yeah. But the subtitle I thought was interesting, Freddy's Revenge, and I thought in the last movie he didn't really lose, right? Me. So it made me think like this guy's a spoiled, rotten fuck. I know. I'm getting my revenge. Like, you didn't lose, you dick.
It's like how Michael Jordan had to make up stories to like get fired up. Mm-hmm. Like he'd make up that people were talking shit about him even though they didn't say anything.
Yeah.
I got my revenge this time.
People would say nice things. You just be like, what? You know, like start fist pumping them and shit.
Yeah. So maybe it's like that. Freddy just had to make a narrative in his head that there's some revenge that needs to be made.
Perfect explanation.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty bizarre. But the way that they explain the 5-year gap in the film, obviously, is just that nobody wants to move there because they all know that there was a murder. So they're like, fuck that. So that's why the house was vacant for 5 years.
Yep.
But anyways, so let's get into the film here.
I won't let you, apparently.
What would a show be without this kind of stuff, though?
Right.
That's like our special formula.
There you go.
So the bus starts speeding down the road and gets a little wild and goes off the road. Eventually, the ground starts to disappear and it's left just hanging on this single rock formation. And really cool use of practical effects here. I don't know if you would agree. Just when the bus is just kind of hanging and
it's
like kind of stop motion.
I loved it. I thought it was done very well. Like it's creepy.
Yeah,
it's eerie and it works. You know, I noticed they're using like models, and then they're also doing what looks like real dirt too outside. Right. Or maybe that's models too. They did a good job.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, it looks just really, really, really cool and holds up for being from so long ago. Like I was watching the high def version and it was still like, oh my God. Like still the bus, I guess, looked a little corny at some points, but for the most part, it was like, wow. But yeah, so after that, it turns out, of course, that it's Jesse's nightmare. And that is one of the greatest screams, I think, in not just this franchise, but most horror movies. Jesse's scream.
Yeah, great scream. I actually thought it was a girl when I first heard it. Not to be mean at all. Just it sounded like a girl, and like I had no idea what I was getting into. Then we see, it's him shirtless with the nipples. So, right. Maybe that's
gay subtext.
Maybe that's what I noticed. Like, so he sleeps shirtless, but like there's always skin showing in the upper body.
Right.
This is like a thing.
Yeah.
And maybe that's gay subtext.
It could be gay subtext.
He's in his underwear. He tucks his junk. Like, it's a very normal thing, actually, but you don't see that typically, especially in that era. It's like watching someone take a shit. I feel like, they just kind of skip over that part. Unless someone's going to get murdered on the can, then it's important.
Right. No. Okay, so after Jesse's dream, he goes downstairs to family breakfast, and we're introduced to Jesse's family. His sister is eating Fu Manchus, but it's spelled Chews. And she reaches in for the prize, which is like these long fingernails, which immediately reminds Jesse of Freddy. And after that, Jesse goes to school with Lisa in his piece of shit car. And Lisa is, I don't know who she's played by. Do you?
No, but
She's very.
She's done some things back then, and then she did some other things after that. And then, like I say, she had a hiatus in like the 2000s, I think, and then recently in recent years did a few things and completed something new, I guess. So she's kind of like back. But she did a film with Patrick Swayze in like the late 90s called like Creeper Man or something like that. I don't know.
Creeper Man. It's the name of my autobiography.
But yeah, she has a charm.
She does.
So I was like curious about her. She kind of gives me who's the chick from Titanic?
Oh, Kate Winslet.
Yeah, she kind of gives me that vibe a little bit. Her older self, actually, not in this movie, but looking at older pictures of her after this, she kind of gives me sort of a Kate Winslet sort of vibe.
Yeah,
in Titanic specifically.
Sure. So, okay.
Very important footnote there.
So they go to school, and we cut to the baseball gym class scene where Jesse and Grady get into a bit of a tussle. A lot of manly testosterone flying, and they get into like a little wrestling match on the ground, which has to be broken up by the gym teacher. And he sends them over to do push-ups. And this is one of my favorite lines in the movie, comes from this scene where Jesse and Grady are talking while doing their push-ups. And Grady's like bothering him about Lisa. And Jesse's like, "Why are you hassling me, man? What, do you have like a problem with me?" And then Grady says, "No, bro, I'm just killing time." It's just a really funny line. I think it's one of my favorites in that movie. So
I like Grady. I like the character. It's like I very much projected my own life experience on that character. He reminds me of somebody that we went to high school with, actually.
Yeah.
And you know, this movie is so tragic, and not for the obvious reason that Freddy's terrorizing and killing people, but so tragic in that he's kind of given like the perfect setup in the beginning. Like, he's got the girl, he made friends with an enemy, like a cool dude. And like, you know what I mean? Like, things seem fine.
Yeah.
And I guess that's set up that way. And then it just sort of unravels, and it's just really, really sad. Like,
it is. Like,
it's like hard to watch.
It's all just taken.
Yeah. I feel like that was part of the horror aspect, was like, this is all great, and now it's gonna be, you know, torn apart.
Yeah. And I mean, it helps that like you said, I mean, like the characters are relatable and they're really likable. I mean, almost everybody in here, like all the teens, are really likable and good actors.
Yeah, and that all feeds into it. It's like a pleasant experience until Freddy comes along, and I guess there you go.
Right.
There's really no better way to set up Freddy being a bastard.
Yeah. So after the fight in the gym class, we cut to the next night, and Jesse is having another nightmare. And this time it's revealed that Freddy needs Jesse for some reason. We don't really know why yet. As an audience, we are just kind of like, okay. But we'll find out soon enough. And this nightmare, I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, they don't really do too much like effects wise. Like, this is where he brings the gloves back with him, and I think this is where like all his stuff is like melting on his his nightstand and like the dresser and shit. Like, stuff's melting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So nothing too crazy in this one, but so. After that, we cut to the next day, and it's back at school. Jesse gets pranked in class with a snake.
Oh, yeah.
As he's falling asleep. Yeah.
Did he get pranked, or did the snake climb on him?
I just assumed that because of the way that those guys earlier looked at him sleeping while laughing. I just thought that they grabbed the snake and put it on him. But I don't know. Maybe what you said.
You know, I actually was really impressed by this film
Okay.
in that they did a lot of different things throughout the film to keep my interest and to kind of keep me guessing. And I really enjoyed that about this movie, actually. It wasn't just formulaic, like Friday the 13th, kids are going to show up, yada, yada, slowly get murdered by Jason before Showdown with Girl. Or last Freddy movie, Freddy haunts your dreams. You try to stay awake, and then you try not to let him kill you.
Yeah.
And this one, there's just different things, and even like small subtle details, just like the snake thing.
Mm-hmm.
How did the snake get there?
Right.
And then they just put the snake back in the tank, and it's like, what the fuck?
Right. So later that night, after the snake thing happens, we have that cleaning montage in Jesse's room. And I think at this point, this is probably the most clear evidence that there's gay subtext in this movie. this cleaning montage. I mean, it's gay. I don't know how else to say it. It's a gay cleaning montage. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I'm just going to call a spade a spade. I mean, he closes the drawer with his crotch and then he pretends to like jerk off with like this party popper thing.
I just thought he was a nerd or a dork,
Maybe I am biased because I knew already about the gay subtext.
Honestly, I'm gonna be totally honest. Ever since you've said that, I'm seeing that side by side with my original viewing of the film, and I'm trying to stick with the side I saw earlier.
Yeah,
and let you handle the other side.
Okay,
but of course, and that, I mean, whether it is or it isn't, it's
right.
like now I'm like picking up on like, oh, how could this be gay subtext? Like every scene.
Yeah.
So certainly.
But we'll just leave it there. And at the end of that montage, it's really embarrassing for him because Lisa walks in with his mom.
Such bad timing for him to be pretending to jerk off of the popper and pop it.
That's terrible.
Especially the way he did it on the bed with the sort of, like you said, he's using the hips. He's doing a little bit of thrusting, some booty bumping in there. And
sure.
I'd be embarrassed as shit if something like that happened to me.
Yeah.
Especially your girlfriend.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Oh God.
That's tough one to come back from.
If she wasn't super cool, like this character, like that girl, she might turn around and walk out.
Yeah.
That could have been the girl that you could have hooked up with. Yeah, exactly. That maybe didn't want a relationship, but you could have scored with. And she's like, all right, I'm going to go tell everybody at school that you were jacking off with a little wooden popper thing with croquet mallet paint around the rings. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's a very embarrassing situation, but like you said, turned out okay for him because she's cool. Have you ever had a situation happen like that to you in your life? I can't think of anything like from childhood that I like would deem like that embarrassing.
In a sort of what context, or you mean very generally?
Like generally, yeah.
Very generally. Like singing as a prince in a play in front of a crowd of people.
Okay.
At gym.
Sure. Yeah.
That I thought that was pretty embarrassing.
Sure.
It was a role I didn't want to play, but I was forced to. So did that in tights. That was pretty great stuff. How about you?
Well, let's see. Nothing is like coming to mind from childhood, but I'll just say the most recent embarrassing situation that I was in was I took a spill when I was running, like just like last week, actually. I hit the pavement really hard outside of St. Peter's, and there was like a bunch of cars everywhere, and I had to get up and be like, oh, it's all good, like I'm okay. Like it was like one of those things where like my pride hurt more than the actual fall. It's just embarrassing.
Just the embarrassment.
Yeah.
Was it during a church service?
Luckily, no. It wasn't during a service,
okay.
but there just happened to be a lot of people out because it was just a nice evening.
Gotcha.
So
people were worried about you?
There was some people that were like looking over, and I was just like, oh, it's okay.
It's fine. There's like blood all over you.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine.
Get away
Stop
from me.
looking at me. You wave your hand and blood flies at them.
Yeah. So that's the most recent one I could think of.
Also, I don't know if you care, but earlier you were like, oh, this is where like he has the dream and things are melting. That's happening actually now. I'm actually playing the movie on YouTube while you talk.
Oh, okay.
Pause it.
Okay.
So the melting part's coming now.
Okay.
And before, when you mentioned that he had the dream and things are melting, in that one he goes downstairs with his shirt open, which seems to be a theme in the film. You have to see his nipples and some skin. He like goes down like the alleyway between the houses by like some like foggy garbage cans.
Oh yeah.
But I don't think anything happens after that.
You're right. I don't think so either. I think that's just about the extent of that scene.
But if you don't have to fix it, I mean, I guess it's all the same.
Why don't we just take it from that correction and then we'll just go right into the next scene?
Sure.
Okay. So it's happening right now. The melting is, right?
Yep.
Okay. So
yeah, I'm seeing the disc melting or the record. He just woke up.
Okay.
Shirtless, nipples out, sweaty.
But we should mention prior to that nightmare, they also find Nancy's old diary. That's a pretty good plot device.
Yeah, that's kind of a big one.
Yeah.
That's where they make the connection and they learn about Freddy and stuff. I don't know if they mentioned his name right then.
They did.
Oh, they did. Okay, there you go. So now they know the house, vacant for 5 years. Freddy, girl, watched guy die across the street and all this. So
right. So yeah.
Grady mentioned that in the locker room too. So you got one, and then you got two at the diary, and the girlfriend's there. So you get guy and the girlfriend. It's all coming together. It's all coming together.
Right.
So they know a little bit of what's up here.
Right. So then the nightmare and the melting things and what else? This is when he brings the claws back to the real world. This is basically the one that I described earlier.
He goes to the basement and he grabs the claw out of the little furnace thing, and it's wrapped in like the rags.
Yeah.
Just like it was in the first movie.
Yeah. And Freddy's just like, try him on.
Yeah. He's trying to convince him to do his dirty work, I guess, or yeah.
So after that, it's the next day back at gym class, and they get punished again, back to the same position, which is like a really funny kind of like throwaway joke to lighten things up after that nightmare. Because they just like start, I don't know what happened. So I think they start fighting again in gym, and then like it cuts right back to them doing push-ups again.
They talk shit about their gym teacher, and he was there.
That's right. Okay. Yeah. So just a little throwaway thing. And then back at home, this is a scene that you were thinking of when you were talking about
some shit that happens, and you're like, what the fuck?
The bird.
The bird, and the people's reaction afterward is just kind of like, oh, well, that was weird.
Right.
Rather than like, what the fuck?
I know.
Like, a bird exploded. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's like some serious shit.
But then again, maybe real people would be like, well, that couldn't even be real. It's like Beetlejuice when they saw the weird spirits in the closet and they had no reaction.
Right.
It's like, it's just too weird to believe.
Sure. They're just shocked. So then after that, that whole bird fiasco, we get a weird nightmare. It starts off with Jesse walking to the S&M bar with his shirt open in the rain. And goes in there and orders a drink. And then from behind, his gym teacher comes up in this like leather getup. And then we cut to the gym where he's running laps for the guy. And
you know what? There are parts of this film that were weird.
Yeah.
that, and it's like if you're going for a sexual identity subtext or whatever, it's like, oh, okay, I guess this is where it's coming in. So, showing a lot of skins happening again in this scene, open shirt, it has to be that way. Which is fine. It just seemed unusual that it was so like consistent and frequent.
Yeah.
But then in the S&M bar, just the gym teacher showing up and being dressed up in S&M clothes and having a smile on his face and bringing him to the school,
right,
to punish him.
Yeah.
I found that odd. I was like, he must be dreaming.
Right.
And I felt like this film actually did a good job of making you question whether or not he's dreaming. I think that was I thought they did a pretty good job with that. But just the whole S&M thing, and he's a high school kid. A little weird.
Yeah, absolutely. Agreed.
So maybe a little, gay statutory rape sort of vibes. Perhaps,
yes.
That's not legal.
No,
but,
no.
We didn't see it happen.
No.
But,
thank God.
Yeah.
And there is even mention actually prior to that, this scene where Grady's talking to Jesse, and he mentions how the gym teacher likes to go to these places on weekends.
Yeah, and I did remember that. And
yeah.
I mean, this whole scene, he makes him take a shower after making him run laps.
Yeah.
It's not school hours.
Right.
And why are you making a high school kid take a shower after you're at the S&M bar?
It's pretty bizarre.
With the kid who had his shirt open.
Yeah. I mean, there's something going on here.
I mean, they kind of made it very, normalized. Things just carried on.
Right.
I guess Freddy actually kind of helped disrupt that. Maybe Freddy actually saved this kid from abuse. I shouldn't say saved. He replaced his potential abuse moment with
a kill.
With, murderous abuse.
Yeah. I mean,
which is weird because Freddy's a pedophile. So you'd think that maybe that was too on the nose for him.
Well, he needed Jesse, though.
Sure.
So he didn't want to see him get all.
Oh, he was jealous. I see what you're saying.
You didn't want to see him get all busted up.
That's his kid.
Yeah, that's my avatar.
That's my avatar.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, so, and people can be very possessive.
Right. So he had to kill him before any funny business happened.
That makes a lot of sense. It works for me. Fan theory or whatever.
You're right. So how does he get killed? He gets whipped to death by a towel, right? And then slashed.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
I don't know if the towel was doing like serious damage. I wish it was.
Yeah.
You being whipped to death would be a much better death, I think, than using the knives. But
right.
Pretty much strapped the coach naked to the showers and spread him out, and they showed that in his butt cheeks and stuff. So they didn't shy away from like the nakedness. This film's very open about the nakedness.
Yeah.
And it's not women that are naked. So
right. It's a lot of ass.
And for the time period, 1985, gay subtext. I mean, a very good argument for that.
Gay subtext, sting.
So.
Literal male asses. Gay subtext.
Gay subtext. No Peters. It's not Game of Thrones. But
no, not quite.
I'm just kidding. Do they show Peters in Game of Thrones?
I don't know. I never watched it.
No, actually, never mind. They don't show Peters in Game of Thrones.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Looked up a few scenes involving that blonde girl, but I've never
Manhattan.
Manhattan.
What's his name?
What are you
Dr. Manhattan
about?
from.
Oh yeah.
What is that called? Watchmen.
Yeah, that's some.
There was a lot of Blue Peter in that movie.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the only thing that actually comes to mind. I can't think. I don't think there was other movies with Peter.
There's Peter in Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Sarah Marshall. Oh yeah. I forget he walks out and slaps his cock on his thighs.
Yeah.
With no hands.
Yeah.
Hallmark moment.
It is. Yeah. All right, where the hell are we?
So
Oh, the dream. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
well, dream or is it a dream?
Well, here's my interpretation of it. It's a combination dream. Jesse and the gym teacher are dreaming at the same time, and they just happen to be sharing a space.
Okay, so
Just a theory.
Freddy kills the gym teacher with the slashes in the shower with the
Yes.
stretched out nakedness while Kid watches, but then afterward, Kid has Freddy's glove on with the knives and he screams.
Right.
So, it's like, oh, okay, he did it then with
Freddy.
Freddy inside him.
Right.
And they find him by the freeway or whatever and bring him home clothed and he goes to bed. But the next day,
Yeah.
they go to school and find out that the gym teacher was murdered, slashed in the shower.
Yeah.
So he wasn't like murdered in a dream. He was murdered in real life.
That's true.
Because he was dragged to the shower by the jump ropes.
Yeah.
That wrapped around his hands and hung him up in the shower. Like if it happened in the dream, why did he end up that way?
Okay. Here's something.
Could have just sat in his desk and like been slashed apart.
Well, maybe he fell asleep in his office. And when you die in the dream, it is you wake when you awake, it is in that position of where you died. So yeah. I mean, that happened in the first one.
But does the exact thing that happened to you in the dream happen to you in the real world?
Yeah.
That
happens in the first one. Like, okay, Nancy, doesn't she get slashed? And then it shows this exact same slash marks when she wakes up.
Same slash marks, but she wakes up in a bed. See what I'm saying? Versus how is she killed in the dream? Why isn't she in that exact spot place?
Fair enough. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. But I feel like there was an example of that though, of someone getting dragged from a location and then being in that. Was there not in the first one? Like,
oh yeah, you're right. The rough trick with the knife guy in the jail got hung.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and he was but hung, I guess that's not, I mean, still
but that actually happened.
Yeah.
I think what's tough, and maybe it's open to interpretation, but I think what's tough is that there's ambiguity between when Freddy's getting you in the dream and when Freddy's getting you in reality.
Right.
That's absolutely happening, I think.
Yeah.
I thought there was a combination of that, or at least that's what I thought during the whole gym teacher death scene.
So you're saying the gym teacher was never sleeping. It was never part of a dream. He was actually in the real world and killed by Jesse as like being possessed by Freddy. And then Jesse like left the school and then he just ended up naked on the freeway because he left the scene.
Yeah, like we were made to think it was all a dream, but it all actually happened. Okay. But he was compelled by Freddy.
Sure.
So Freddy got into him while he was asleep, woke him up. But then he just was kind of in a sort of half stupor. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Going to the club. Yeah. And maybe some of that happened by chance and Freddy sees on the opportunity to do the thing. So I think there's a connection, but I think it happened in the real world.
Sure.
Stuff that went down.
That makes sense, actually. Now that, I think about it. It does make a lot of sense. Yeah.
This kid is sweaty with his shirt open or his shirt off the entire fucking movie, it seems like.
He is. It must be like 90 degrees constantly.
Drink or smoke or whatever you do, every single time you see him shirtless or with his shirt open,
yeah,
I bet you will be plastered off your fucking ass before the end of this film.
You'll never make it to the final showdown. You won't make it to the pool party.
or at least it'll be one hell of a power hour.
Yeah. That's for sure. Okay, so after it's revealed that the gym teacher died, Jesse oh yeah. He has another dream, and it's his sister doing the chant while jump roping. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's just kind of a quick throwaway thing. And then the next morning, Jesse tells his family about the murders, and the toaster just lights up.
Yeah. You know, I feel like what they did different in this film was in the last one, it was dreams, and Freddy
Yeah.
didn't get to reality till the end. And this one, he's fucking with his head in reality.
Yeah. The lines are just constantly
He's
blurred.
into him through dreams.
Yeah.
But then fucking with his head in reality.
Yeah. And apparently other people can see exactly what's going on. Like they're all in on it. Like, so it's not like
there's like supernatural poltergeist shit going on.
Yeah.
I guess they did it in the last movie when they hung the kid.
Sure. True. But this, to this extent, it's a little more.
Oh yeah. More
like
heavy
in your face. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's clearly about this kid being taken over.
Yeah.
The developing thing.
So later that day, Lisa and Jesse go to the old power plant where Freddy used to work, and it's revealed that he took 20 kids there and killed them. I don't know if they mentioned the body count in the first movie, but this was a surprise to me because I just don't remember them ever saying that.
I thought maybe they did. I know it was like children.
Okay.
But maybe they didn't have a number in the first one, but I wasn't surprised by the number.
Okay.
Whatever that's worth.
Okay. Then after that, another nightmare. Just kind of I don't even really know what happens in this nightmare, to be honest with you. This is the one thing I didn't detail in my notes.
You know, with them going to the power plant,
mm-hmm.
Some people might, like the layperson might think like, why? What the fuck? And I mean, there's the obvious explanation is the girl wanted to be like, hey, this is where the Freddy guy used to work, whatever. Mm-hmm. You know, maybe they can find some answers because they can't find them in any conventional way otherwise. But
right.
This is what I'm saying about this movie is like it keeps you guessing. You don't know where it's going to go, and whether you feel like it makes sense or not. I love that. It's like there's a bigger world out here with Freddy that I don't know. It's like, is there something governing him? Is there more to him than we really know after the first film? You know, I think they did such a great job with that in this one and blurring the lines. We just had a big, long discussion about whether something was a dream or not. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that's great Nightmare on Elm Street filmmaking, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah.
You want the ambiguity. And like I always tell you, the unknown is the scary thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Right on. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry. So he's having a dream after the.
Right. And after power plant. And
the abandoned power plant.
Right. I don't really know what happens in this stream, but
this is when he goes to see his sister sleeping.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Freddy speaks, but then it's the kid.
That's right.
So I guess that's an escalation from he saw her jump roping. This time he sees her normal, but Freddy's voice comes out first.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's him sweaty. He is sweaty and naked, but he's wearing Freddy's knife glove this time.
Right.
You see that when he's gonna like tuck his sister in.
Mm-hmm.
Sweaty and naked.
Yes, sweaty and naked. Yes.
The house is hot. The thermostat's broken.
It is broken. Birds are going crazy. Toasters are lighting up. It's fucking crazy. After that, later that day at school, he's on edge at lunchtime, and Grady's like, "Fine, I'll get the fuck out of here, man." And that's kind of a throwaway scene. Then later that night, it's the pool party at Lisa's house. Ooh. And eventually Lisa coaxes Jesse into a makeout session, and this is hot.
It was until he ruined it, but yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, until the big tongue comes out, but after that, Jesse kind of freaks out and he gets out of there because he's apparently turning into Freddy.
Right.
Yeah. And after that, really, this is kind of where we get like the final showdown here, the movie. First, Freddy attacks Lisa, and then he starts like going ape shit at the pool party, just like slashing people randomly, like just taking teenagers down. One kid tries to stop him, and he just doesn't care.
Yeah.
And Lisa then returns to the power plant to, I guess, do something.
I think she wanted to have a showdown with Freddy.
Okay.
And she wanted to save her boyfriend, the kid.
Right.
Her level of understanding in this film, I think, must be unparalleled in any other film ever made for this genre or any genre, because she never like is afraid of him, wants to help him, totally believes in Freddy Krueger and all this stuff.
Right.
Even though he's really acting really fucking weird and creepy. Like, and then she's going all the way to the factory to like coax Freddy out of hiding, you know?
Yeah. What a
to have a
catch,
showdown
man.
and save him. Like, she is, man, she is like the ultimate girlfriend.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like you said, she goes there to have the showdown, and she shows no fear. And again, they kind of hammer this over our heads that fear seems to be what powers Freddy. At least that's the way they make it seem.
I agree with that.
So
last bit. That's
okay.
what that's how they make it seem.
That's how they make it seem.
But they still keep you guessing.
Yeah. There's still some questions regarding that, but basically Freddy melts. He ends up just melting into like a charred black pile.
That's a good way to describe it.
Yeah. And we think, now stop me if I'm going too fast here. Maybe there's more to cover, perhaps. I don't know. Did you want to
we can always backtrack later. No big deal.
Sure. But we think he's coming back for one more move, but it actually ends up being Jesse. The char goes away from the face, and it's Jesse. And they embrace. Everything is all good. And
that was almost a thrill and a twist in itself that nothing crazy happened there.
Right.
They just embrace it. It's like, oh,
okay.
That's kind of nice. Okay.
Yeah. It's not like Child's Play where you have like a million different jump scares at the end.
Yep.
Keeps coming back.
Exactly. And he disappears.
Yeah. So finally, it's the next day, and they're on the school bus going to school, which is weird because like sometimes Jesse drives to school, and then other times they're taking the bus, but whatever. Car must have just not been working.
True. Or I think each time they're on the bus.
Ah, right.
It's Freddy's bus. There you go.
So all is well, or is it?
You always ride the bus with Freddy.
That's right. And ride the bus they do as it barrels down the road.
I think the moral of the story is you're not cool unless you're driving your own car.
I think you're right. Yeah. I think that's the big takeaway.
Yeah.
Literally, that's what the movie was about. The car subtext.
The car subtext.
Yeah.
It's the subtext to the gay subtext.
Right.
Yeah. Because the car was gay.
It was a gay car.
I don't know if anyone picked up on that.
Right. There was a few things symbolically that were placed here and there throughout the background that actually could have led us to see that, but it was very subtle. But yeah, the car was gay. Yep.
The more you watch the film, the more clear it becomes.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So anyways, any more you want to touch on, or do you want to get to the hell yeah moment?
Oh, what happens at the very end? I kind of derailed you there.
I mean, really, he just kind of starts speeding down, and it's revealed that Freddy's driving. Really, I mean,
Oh yeah, you're right. They just kind of drive off into that little desert, which is
Yes.
apparently right next to their little suburban town.
Right. Makes sense.
They're
Yeah.
out west. I
Yeah.
guess that's
Yeah.
normal.
So that's about it, right? I mean, then the credits roll.
Wait a minute.
What?
They're not out west. They're in Ohio.
Well, yeah, that's what they're supposed to. Well,
Oh, it's a Freddy hologram mirage
yeah.
dream barren wasteland. I'm sorry. Okay.
And there's palm trees though, but in real life again.
They look like Dr. Seuss trees. They're really weird looking. It's kind of like they're out west filming this, but it's Ohio.
Yeah, whatever.
And this is Freddy's creepy desert.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna call
He
it.
manifested a desert.
Everyone else can call it whatever the fuck they want.
Freddy's creepy desert.
Yeah.
It's a spinoff that they tried to make on one of the sci-fi channels.
Actually, because of their limited budget, this is the same desert that they used in Beetlejuice that had the giant worms in it. So it's the exact same one, actually.
Okay.
So
okay.
It's pretty cool crossover there.
Nice. All right. Cool. Well, that's Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, everybody. What's your hell yeah moment, Ryan?
So there is one part that we actually glossed over, which was when he's making out with Chick and the big tongue comes out and ruins the really hot, steamy scene there, and he runs away from the house. He goes to Grady's. How he got in the fucking house and came through his bedroom door, who cares? We get past that. But anyway, he asks Grady to don't go to sleep, watch me. Of course, Grady goes to sleep. And kid has this really long, awesome metamorphosis of like Freddy coming out of him, which is freaking sweet. The arms ripping. And then my hell yeah moment of the movie was Freddy first. And this is the movie, man. Like every little thing it don't expect. Freddy like shoves his face through his stomach, which I was like, he's not even biting. That's not even the most effective way to get out of there. But never mind, that's just what Freddy's gonna do. And then Freddy like tears through his stomach and like just rips the top of his torso off. And your average person might think it's really cheesy, like the old school effect, like the animatronic bodies and stuff. But I actually think it adds to the creepiness, and I love it. I love it. Yeah. So he has like the animatronic body, and it's like on top, and then Freddy just like flips him off. That's my hell yeah moment. That was so cool. The carnage and the gore, and then Grady, kind of jockish, rough around the edges, badass kid, can't open the door.
Mm-hmm.
And then he dies.
Nice. Yeah.
And kid goes out the window and kid never gets arrested. Never a suspect. There was footprints left in blood at the high school.
Right. Apparently
they never connect him to those crimes.
Apparently the police aren't quite as good as they used to be 5 years ago.
They would never expect him, a kid like that, to fit that kind of profile. So he was never suspected.
No.
He was just naked walking down the freeway, just like Jeffrey Dahmer with his quote unquote boyfriend down the freeway.
Mm-hmm.
But this character luckily did not suffer the same horrible fate.
Right.
He just went home and didn't get arrested for murder.
No, he got to sleep in his nice warm bed.
He got to thrust his arms in the air the next day going on the bus at the end of the film.
Yes.
So.
Right. It all worked out great.
It's a white suburb. That's just a typical day.
Nice. Well, I like your moment. That is a really brutally cool scene. Really
it was
cool.
Awesome.
Good use of practical effects, and sure must have been probably really tough to pull that off, like to make it look like that. So
you got to sell it and get the right angles.
Yeah.
Because you're obviously not going to get, like really elaborate stuff to happen without CGI.
Right. Yeah. So cool. Well, mine is it's a small moment, but it makes me laugh, and it really shows off Freddy's personality, which he starts to get a lot more of in this movie, and would continue to do so as these films go on. We'll see Freddy become more of the icon that he, becomes or is.
Mm-hmm.
And so in this particular scene is the pool scene, and it's when that kid is trying to stop him, and he's like, "We can help you," and then he slashes him to the side and just is like, "Help yourself, fucker."
Yeah.
So that's my hell yeah moment. I really like that. It makes me laugh. So
The abrasive wisecracking or cracking troll.
Yeah.
Wisecracking troll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. Building block moment for Freddy's personality. That whole scene, I enjoyed actually the sort of wackiness of it. Gave me a real like arcade video game boss battle sort of feel. Because
yeah.
all these different things are happening while Freddy's trying to get you on the level, like moving
Yeah.
around, and there's just random fires and things flying around and bubbly pool and stuff like that. I got a kick out of that. That was some serious stuff.
Yeah.
That was like some really godlike control he had over that yard, that property.
Yeah. Because he was totally outnumbered. I mean, but he had them all backed up really far into that corner.
He's a freaky freaking guy, and picking on high schoolers, you know, it's probably a safer way to go. I mean, monster insurance companies typically prefer the slashers and killers and monsters to have victims that are younger. It drives the premium down if they're under 18. Jason, you know, really helped his bottom line and hit the numbers he needed to hit to stay profitable as a slasher. So
nice.
Very good move on his part. Good business decision.
Yeah, for sure. This pool scene was actually one of the scenes that Wes Craven pointed to as one of the reasons why he didn't want to direct. He's like, this is fucking stupid.
Really?
Yeah, because he thought it was so ridiculous that Freddy, who's kind of short in stature, would be like in the real world attacking all these giant characters.
That he wouldn't be imposing.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. He's Freddy. Couldn't he make himself hulking?
You would think they could do that, right?
But you know what? I'm glad as maybe what do you call it, sacrilegious as it is to say, I'm glad Wes Craven didn't do it, because I really enjoyed this film.
It was a fun movie. I liked it. Yeah. I really liked it.
Someone like me or Wes Craven maybe would have tried to make this more logical, like a Halloween movie.
Sure.
It's sort of grounded in reality.
Right.
These are physical people doing physical things. Freddy's, it's more like fantastical and dream world and mixing these things. And that the scene with the girl going back to the factory to have the showdown with Freddy, there's like the weird thing with the weird fucked up mouse, and then a bigger fucked up mouse eats that fucking mouse and like screams at her, like weird shit like that.
Yeah.
I just like that they bent the rules, and it was like, it still worked for me. And I liked the pool scene. I thought it was cool. It's like, you know what? That this movie stands the test of time because it wasn't so logical and formulaic and rational. Like Wes Craven said, that pool scene's stupid and Freddy wouldn't be scary. Like,
yeah, like
it works, man. It's
cool.
Different.
It is cool. Yeah, it's different. Yeah.
It stood the test of time in my eyes.
So before we take off though for this evening, let's give our final review or rating. And why don't you kick it off here?
You know, it's always hard. Like, how do you rate a film? How do you grade it? You know, and it's like, you know, how would the average person feel? But you know, obviously, it's however you want to grade it. And honestly, I really enjoyed this movie. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5.
Wow.
And I don't even think I gave the first one that because it was, you know, it was interesting.
Yeah.
And I kind of went into it thinking, you know, it's going to be kind of like the first movie, you know, it's just going to be a new set of kids, and he's going to get into one's dream and other's dreams. And then they're going to try to, you know, stop him, and some are going to die, just like the first movie.
Sure.
But this one was different direction. It was very refreshing. Sure. So I look forward to more. I hope that, like, you know, the rest are similar.
Yeah. Right on.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that was very generous. I originally I did have it as a 3 fedoras out of 5, but as you were giving your review, you kind of convinced me to bump it up just by 1. So I think I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5 because I really did enjoy it too. I really thought there was some cool effects, especially like some of the bus stuff, the practical effects with that, and like you mentioned with like the end with Grady and that whole thing, that whole brutal face thing coming through. Just a lot of cool stuff like that. Great performances. Lisa is stunningly beautiful, so that helped. And
the personality,
yeah,
like to
the
go
personality,
with it,
yes, of course.
that that's helps.
A big part of it.
We watched this to determine who are we going to marry? That's the person. Was our obvious mission here.
It was exactly it.
Or it ended up being a revelation.
So it did, because now when I go out walking tomorrow, my search for my new soulmate will be someone that fits the Lisa type.
There you go.
Yes.
Yep. You'll just have all the scenes clipped together so you can kind of refresh your memory before you go out. Maybe having your tablet at the bar. She's got to walk like this. She's got to talk like that. She's got to have this nice little sweet gleam, in her eye. And
right. Yeah. She has to be very understanding. Like if I were to just suddenly pretend to jerk off with a toy one day and she walked in on me, she'd have to be very understanding, like Lisa.
Yeah, to do something horrible like that. Absolutely. Becoming murderous and like having some pedophiliac, supernatural psychopath coming out of you and taking you over. That's pretty pedestrian stuff for her to look past. Mm-hmm. Any girl would be fine with that. But the jerking off with the wooden toy thing,
that's crossing the line.
That's maybe this movie got me 5 out of 5 Freddy sweaters just for that reason. That was me. And this movie said, hey, you have a chance.
Right. Well, there you have it, folks. That's it. Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2.